We are live.
Good evening, Madam Mayor. It is 6 o'clock and we are live. You may have your mute button on. Can they hear me?
Can you hear me now?
Oh, I can hear you now. That's perfect.
Much better. Well, what I was saying to you was I left my script in my office and it's really something that I count on. So I am gonna, and then Sarah went to get it, but she doesn't have the key. So if everyone will give me 5 minutes, I'll be right back.
But you want me to give the key to Sarah and then you don't have to hike back and forth?
That would be great. That would be great.
Get that?
Thank you. Such teamwork. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. This big, here we go. Oh, no, you did, you found it. Thank you.
Sarah,
Wow.
connection.
You must be a good lock breaker. Well, here you go. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Okay, so, evening. I'd like to call the April 20th, 2021 regular city commission meeting to order and ask the clerk to call the roll.
Mayor Betty Resch,
Here.
Vice Mayor Herman Robinson,
Here.
Commissioner Sarah Maliga,
That would be me.
Commissioner Christopher McVoy,
Here.
Commissioner Kim Stokes.
Here.
Thank you.
Now we'll have the invocation by Commissioner McVoy.
We gather to make decisions for our community. May we use only our best skills and judgment, keeping ourselves impartial and neutral as we consider the merits and pitfalls of each matter that is placed before us, and always act in accordance with what is best for our community and our fellow citizens.
Thank you. Now have the Pledge of Allegiance led by Commissioner Robinson.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, are there any additions or deletions or reordering?
No, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. So the next thing that we do here is presentations. There is a presentation by Dr. Ava Parker of Palm Beach State College.
Yes, Rachel Bunlaren is trying to get her screen to come on. Oh, look at, she started screen sharing. Good.
Great.
We're done.
Thank you.
Dr. Parker?
Yes, thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Ken?
And let me just close the door really quick. Thank you so much for the opportunity to say hello this evening to the members of the commission. And so while I am a visitor in your chambers today, I feel like because you all are all newly elected, and I certainly want to say congratulations, I also feel like I should just say welcome to the neighborhood. We're so happy to have you. Next slide, please. I would hope that much of the information that I'm going to share today is information that you already know about your college, but just in case, as your neighbor and as your partner, I thought it was important just to give a little bit of a background. Next slide, Rich. You know, you'll see us talk about this because we see PBSC as the heart of Palm Beach County. And I say that because when you leave your neighborhood, you're going to run into someone who was either attended the college or graduated from the college, or their children or someone in their family had some impact or some connection with Palm Beach State College, whether it was dual enrollment, or they actually took classes or graduated from classes, or maybe went to one of our theaters, because Duncan Theater is right there in our neighborhood. And so that's why I say in so many instances, we are the heart of Palm Beach County. Next slide, please. So I thought I would share some information about who we are. We're Florida's first public community college. We were established in 1933. We have 5 campuses. We serve about 47,000 students. And our college mirrors the diversity in our county, is that we're about 1/3 Hispanic, 1/3 Black, and 1/3 white. We offer associate's degrees, bachelor's degrees, as well as certificate programs. And I think that a lot of folks may believe that when we became a state college that we dropped all of the connections that we have with shorter term programs. But we became a state college because we also added bachelor's degrees. But about 60% of our students are still students who want to earn an AA and transfer to our bachelor's programs or to other universities in the state. We offer dual enrollment, which is a big part of what we do, which is a great option for our high school students to take college courses without paying any costs to them. Those courses are actually paid for by the school district. And we are the economic heartbeat of Palm Beach County. We are a part of what makes businesses come to our community. We're a part of making sure that we have folks who are hireable and ready to go right to work. So we really see ourselves as the economic engine as well of the county. Next slide, Rach. As far as our local impact, I want you to know that we are your largest employer. That at the college, we have just over 2,000 full-time and part-time employees right here. And that's the whole college, not just at Lake Worth, at the Lake Worth campus. We have $1.1 billion annual economic impact here in Palm Beach County. We are the county's primary provider of public safety training, the primary provider of healthcare workers. And I would sure that you probably don't know that for every local high school graduate who chooses to obtain a credential past high school, 50% of them choose to attend Palm Beach State College. So we know we have a big responsibility to our community to make sure that we get it right. Next slide, please. So what I'd like to talk to you about today specifically is how is it that we, as your largest employer, can actually strengthen our relationship and help you to realize more of the goals that you want for our residents right here in Lake Worth Beach. So I'd like for us to develop a stronger partnership between the city of Lake Worth Beach and the college, but one that specifically targets training and academic opportunities for our residents. That is, that we're committed to making sure that if you have goals for our residents, that we want to partner with you to make sure that we can make them happen. Next slide, please. There's some interesting information that I'd like to share with you. You know, the Florida Chamber has been engaged in some research throughout the county or throughout the state, excuse me, where they really are targeting zip codes with individuals that have economic disadvantages. And what they've done is they put this information on their website, and it's like a heat map that identifies zip codes where they have children who are under the age of 18 who are living in poverty. And so this is important to us because we feel like we have a responsibility as an institution to do whatever we can to work with everyone, but to specifically target those particular communities. And so what we've done is that we've done a little research and we've identified those zip codes that are within Lake Worth Beach. And so the ones that we've highlighted, the 33460, the 33462, the 33461, and the 33463 are zip codes that have been identified by the Florida Chamber, where we and they've kind of labeled them as poverty zip codes just based upon the poverty of the children in those areas. And I say that to you because we want to specifically work with you to identify ways that we could help the residents and those zip codes in particular to actually eradicate the poverty that is within Lake Worth Beach. And so I say this to you that, the information that we've gathered is available on the Florida Chamber website. And you can see there the number of people who live within those zip codes and the percentage of poverty that's there. And again, it's our goal to do what we can to assist you in working with those residents to eradicate poverty in those zip codes, but also to work with the entire city and finding ways that we can ensure that we have trained individuals who are ready to go to work. Next slide, please. We've also done some work on the industries that are right within Lake Worth Beach. And you can see here, and I won't go through all of them, but the point of this is that if we want to train your residents so that they can in turn actually find jobs right within your community, it was important for us to identify the jobs that were available. And we actually worked very closely with with Career Source to get this information so that we would know the kinds of jobs that would be available. So when I talk to you about a partnership and trying to train people, we actually want to train them so they can come right into jobs right within our own community and not have to go outside the city of Lake Worth Beach to find gainful employment. And you can see there's manufacturing, home healthcare services, ambulatory and surgical emergency centers, software publishers, and dentists and lawyers. And so many of those, so many people who work in those industries, they can actually receive training at Palm Beach State College. Next slide, please. So here's an example of the types of programs that we offer that we think we could partner with you on to ensure that if we got some of your residents engaged in these programs and they earned these certificates, that they would be employable in the businesses that are available within Lake Worth Beach. So it's a business specialist, CCC, and those are career certificate programs. It's lean manufacturing, engineering technology is associate in science degree. We have a paralegal program that's also associate in science, but you can see we have several different programs, and some of them are like 18 months to a year or less that folks can actually enroll in and ultimately gain the type of credentials so they can be gainfully employed right here in our own Lake Worth Beach. So I just wanted to give you ideas of the kinds of programs that are available. I should tell you, as an institution, we have over 130 programs at the college, but I want to identify ones that if folks actually earn these certificates, they can go right to work here in our hometown. Next slide, please. I want to talk to you a little bit about the benefits for students. So as I indicated, the time to completion for some of the programs that are identified, it's like even as little as 16 weeks. So we have short-term programming for people who maybe haven't been to school in a long time and maybe they don't want to devote a year plus to to an area of study. We have programs that are as short as 16 weeks. We have something that's called rapid credentialing, and this prepares individuals for high demand, a high wage career in a year or less. So with rapid credentialing, this is a program that was specifically developed by the governor. He took the CARES dollars that he received from the federal government. He gave them to the Department of Education, and they in turn developed these grants that would allow people to retool and specifically target people who lost jobs during the pandemic. And so we have programs and we have partners that provide laptops and opportunities for students who engage in rapid credentialing to actually go right to work. It's a great avenue for those who haven't attended classes in a while, because we have some classes that can be right at Lake Worth, at the Lake Worth Beach campus or our Lake Worth campus in Lake Worth Beach, as well as some classes that are online. And what's wonderful about this is that none of these opportunities are dead-end opportunities. That is, that you can get into a short-term program, and if you fell in love with school again or with that particular area, you can actually build on that one certificate program and earn an Associate of Science degree or Associates in Arts degree, or possibly even transfer into our baccalaureate degree programs, because we consider them stackable credentials. That is, you can earn a career certificate, then possibly earn an associate's degree, and ultimately also earn your bachelor's degree. So none of the time would be wasted, because you can start working with a certificate and start working towards actually earning your bachelor's degree. It certainly provides promotability and marketability. And we also have career planning services, so that we can help with interviewing skills, resume writing, and other soft skills that would make our participants more employable. Next slide. The thing that we think that is good for our partners, in this instance, that would be the city of Lake Worth Beach, is that it increases access to higher education. It creates an opportunity for employment growth throughout the enhancement of job skills, credential offerings for residents of Lake Worth Beach. It strengthens community relationships through industry partnering, and it cultivates and really will grow the city's workforce. It encourages participation across all business sectors, and it identifies potential cohort and target populations that would benefit from workforce training. And it helps us to quickly retool those who have become unemployed due to the pandemic. And so an example of this is what we've done with the city of Riviera Beach. That is that we partnered with the city of Riviera Beach. They actually gave us a room that's right within their government complex, where we actually offer classes. They help us to recruit residents from their community. We work very closely with CareerSource to help cover the costs for the students to participate in the program. And then the city, when they graduated, said they would work with the students to help them find jobs. And so that's the type of partnership we hope to develop with you. That is, if you can think of jobs that you'd like for your citizens to be ready for, whether they actually come to us, whether the program is online, or whether it's at a facility that you guys provide for us, we want you to know that we're here to partner and to help. Next slide, please. And then finally, what I'd say to you at Palm Beach State College, what we do is we inspire hope, because we find students who have no idea they can be successful. We are an open access institution, so we accept you where you are. We advance skills, that is, we actually give you the knowledge and the tools to be successful. So you're not just coming to class and not learning anything. We take you where you are and we help you to advance to the credential that you want to earn. And we ultimately transform lives. This is our commitment to our students. This would be our commitment to you as our partner. And I'm hoping that this is just the start of many conversations that we'll have about how we can come together and make a difference in the city of Lake Worth Beach. Thank you so much for your time, and I'm certainly available for any questions you might have.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's very interesting. I see a light.
Thank you for coming here. I just have a question for you, Ms. Parker. We are doing an internship program here at the city that we're in the process of finding the right partners to do those internship programs with. Is that something that you think the school would be interested in?
Absolutely. You know, that's the best way for our students to actually get jobs is if they engage in internships while they're still in school before they graduate. So we would be most definitely most interested in engaging in an internship program with you.
Okay, can you make sure that the city clerk has contact information for our contact in HR to reach out to tomorrow?
Absolutely. I'll make sure Rachel Von Lauren is operating the slides for me, and she'll make sure that we connect up with whomever you think is the best contact for that opportunity.
Thank you. Much appreciated.
Thank you. I see Mr. Robinson's light is on.
Just thank you, Ms. Parker. I was wondering what the nearest campus to Riviera is.
You know what? The nearest campus to Riviera Beach is actually Palm Beach Gardens. And so that was a partnership that the Palm Beach Gardens campus spearheaded. And it is not as close as we are. As our Lake Worth campus is certainly in the city of Lake Worth Beach and even closer to your government complex than Palm Beach Gardens campus is to the Riviera Beach campus. So know that we think that's even easier for us to partner with you just because of proximity.
Let's do it the easy way. I appreciate your using the word partner, becomes a teammate in the future. Is university in the future?
Not for us. We love the space that we operate in. We are an institution that's really focused on 2-year degrees for students who want to transfer. And then the bachelor's programs that we offer, we feel these are programs that put students right to work. So no, we're not planning to offer any master's levels programs. We like the niche in health sciences because most health science workers that you come into contact with at your doctor's and dentist's office, many of them were trained with us. So no, we may offer more bachelor's degrees because we are seeing that there are other bachelor's degrees that we think we can offer for our community that are not offered by our partners, FAU or Palm Beach Atlantic or Lynn. But I do not see us offering master's degrees.
Look forward to more collaboration with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Parker. This is really, I love having this. I went to a state college, and so that was my experience. And my niece is a graduate of your police academy. And she's now with the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office.
Wonderful.
I had a question. Could you get us the name of the contact person for the Riviera Beach program so we could possibly find out how that works from the city's standpoint?
Absolutely. I can tell you that that the former mayor, I don't know if Julia Patel is the current mayor or former mayor, but she was the person who was the commissioner of City of Riviera Beach who actually, really spearheaded and pushed this issue. And so I know that she'd be happy to speak with anyone, Madam Mayor, that you would like for her to speak with and talk about the experience that she's had. We had one cohort of students that come through, and now we're working on our second cohort of students. So yes, most definitely, we can make sure that we put her in contact with whomever you like for her to speak with.
if you could just, email me, or if you could give me her name, maybe we could reach out as well.
Sure, absolutely. So it is, I want to say, I don't know if Julia Battelle is the current mayor, but she certainly was a commissioner. And I think the current mayor, if you would allow us to email you tomorrow,
That'd be
and
perfect.
we'll make the connection, because I know she'd be happy to speak with you about the relationship.
Thank you very much. And thank you for all you do. Any other comments? Thank you, Dr. Parker, very much.
So thank you very much. It was such a pleasure. I look forward to meeting you individually and seeing if there are any things we can do to support your particular districts. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I love that we have a college down the street. Okay. Now it's time for commission liaison reports and comments. And I will start with Mr. Robinson tonight.
It's good times. Looking forward to the future in Lake Worth Beach. Where I want everybody to know that there are 5 people that are working diligently to make life better in Lake Worth. Really, I want to wish our Muslim friends a meaningful Ramadan this month. Earth Day is Thursday, but we did a whole lot of cleaning the earth on Saturday. Congratulations to all the neighborhoods that participated. Attended or listened, was with Treasure Coast Regional Planning and realized all the resources that we could be taking advantage of through their abilities. I look forward to Ronaldo Diaz of the Waterkeepers presenting possibly at our next commission meeting to talk about the quality of water in our C51 and the lagoon. Want to thank all the volunteers on the boards and want to encourage people that want to participate in the boards to make applications to any more than one if one is not available. I want to thank John Paxman for his years of dedication to the CRA. So there's a vacancy there. The dock, the East Old Bridge Park dock is going to be repaired soon, I hope. I'm looking forward to us establishing quickly a list of priorities that we can work together with. I cannot not mention George Floyd's death and the country that is making steps to be a better country. I think that our PBSO has done needs to be celebrated along with our community for not having a situation that was as horrific as Minnesota. The red flag situation is a gun control. It was said here that it's a national issue. It's not a national issue. It's only a national issue until it happens in your community. We need to somehow make gun control, gun regulation a priority. And I really thank PBSO for their way that they've handled our community in the past and wish them all the safety for our citizens and for them in the future. So I look forward to hearing about priorities very soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Stokes?
Yes, so I've also been in contact with Ronaldo Diaz, the Lake Worth Waterkeeper, and share her and Commissioner Robinson's desire to bring him possibly our very next meeting to do a presentation. I met with Mangrove Groves Association. It seems like there's a lot of unanswered questions about what this means for our city, like, is it isolated to the C-51? How much is it spreading into the lagoon? Like, how many precautions do we need to take? So I think it's really important that we get accurate information to our community. So I really hope we can bring him in at our next meeting. Something else that's come to my attention is that the state's supposed to be resurfacing Federal Highway in the near future. And if we have any asks from them, that now is the time to try to get on board with that. So I'm hoping that we can either get a presentation on that or have city staff look into that project that's happening soon. I've met with the Lake Worth Education Task Force, and we're trying to get off the ground. And our next step, just so everybody knows, is that we'll be finalizing our application process and trying to come up with a matrix so that it's very obvious what we're looking for in our board members, and bring that back to the commission. And we're not looking necessarily for every commissioner appoints one person. We're looking more for an open application process on that. So I'm working with Erica Whitfield on that throughout the next few weeks, and then I'll have something to bring back
Great.
to the rest of you to hopefully get approval on. I'm pretty sure, I know most of us were on the call last night about the downtown project, and I'm looking forward to a lot of conversations in the future about what we can best do with that space. And I'm happy that we've started engaging with the public in regards to that issue. So that's it for me today.
Thank you. Commissioner McVoy,
Thank you.
3 minutes starts.
I attended the Transportation Planning Authority agency meeting last Thursday. Some of the things have come up. I expressed our city's interest in a number of things, particularly in train station. Probably the only one that we'd be eligible for is the Coastal Link commuter rail, but we should express it. I expressed interest in making sure that we were on board with all of the quiet horn policies. We will be starting to get presentations on that. Transportation folks are very concerned that Brightline has been out of commission for a while, and the freight trains have been reduced, that there is potential for hazards as those trains come back on. So we probably will be asked to help with education on that. As Kim Stokes mentioned, with the Federal Highway resurfacing between 10th Avenue North and 6th South, there is an opportunity for traffic calming. There's definitely been interest by folks that live along Federal Highway, written interest expressed in mini roundabouts and lane diets, road diets, ways of reducing speed and traffic on those. I would suggest that and there's been contact with FDOT, which seems to be amenable to considering that. We may want to consider having some sort of presentation come to us on that. With the GPA, the double diamond interchange stuff that's proposed for 10th Avenue North, or that's in the works. Both Jamie Brown and I have expressed concerns about pedestrian and bicycle transport. How do you get them across, especially with all the students that go? We also expressed concern with A Street northbound that backs up heavily into that, and whether we can't somehow piggyback that on whatever happens with the interchange. There was interest, I expressed interest in the Lake Worth trolley. Interestingly, I can't remember if it was Boynton or Del Rey, had almost $900,000 from TPA for a trolley. They actually let it go and gave it back for other uses because they found that the money tied them to diesel and things. They couldn't do an electric trolley things, and they were too large. There are also some funding opportunities, some of them through Congressperson Lois Franco that we may want to bring to the board and work with Jamie on. I also am very conscious of the recent verdict this afternoon. I support Commissioner Malega's push for body cameras. Also would be very supportive of de-escalation, and I echo what Commissioner Robinson said. Thank heavens we've done very well with PBSO so far, but let's be out ahead of it rather than behind it. I'm working actively with the attorney and PBSO. I'm getting a lot of complaints about noise in certain parts of town as being a real problem for people, as well as traffic calming. interest in solar, renewable energy, sustainability, that whole thing, I'll be bringing some proposals to work on that to some of the next meetings. And I too, my final note, am grateful to hear at the meeting last night with the CRA that there seems to be interest in starting to do something more like a visioning process before we go forward on a lot more development, that we really make sure what the community wants and has thought through all of the aspects of that.
Thank you. Commissioner Liga.
Thank you, Mayor. First, I'd like us all to know that former Commissioner Carla Blockson's husband has unfortunately had a heart attack yesterday.
Oh,
He's
no.
okay. He's recovering, hopefully. I have asked Mr. Bornstein to send flowers on behalf of the City Commission, so if we can all just keep Carla and her and
Oh, yeah.
there in our prayers, I would greatly appreciate it. With that being said, last Saturday we had a neighborhood cleanup with Royal Poinciana neighborhood cleanup. It was a joint effort with the NAPC is now trying to do one where all the neighborhoods kick in and do one a month. And everybody supports each other, which is a whole concept we've been working on. And it was actually a really good turnout. I think we had 21 people total.
That's great.
I want to give it up to PBSO. Captain Bayer and I had a conversation about more community engagement, and I had 3 officers out there, including, of course, Mr. Mike Mahoney himself.
Yeah.
And we were engaging kids. Deputy Mahoney was out with 2 children doing a cleanup, and it was a great engagement. We took pictures of the kids on the ATVs, of course, with PBSO's permission. So it was a really good turnout on Saturday. I was grateful to be part of it. I have been busy with tours of our city. Water plant was today, and what I call the poop station, the pump out house, which is where the power went out today. And I actually got to see the generator kick on, and that was really cool. Did a ride along with Mr. Jamie Brown in Public Works. And I have been working on my advisory board stuff. So I know that we need to move forward with a city charter review board. I want to bring that to everyone's attention. It's not currently a board. We are working on it. If you're interested, please submit an application like Commissioner Robinson said, and just put charter review. I want to thank the staff for everything that I've been throwing at them, and they've been keeping up and hitting every ball out of the park. And the only thing I want to bring up is that I may be asking and leaning in hard to bring in a business advisory board, business liaison board, and make that a 4 or 5 board member of business owners to really be able to see how we can be more business friendly, more small business friendly, and be at the table. That's all I have.
Thank you. It's been a busy week. I was at the Parrot Cove Neighborhood Association meeting last night, quite the turnout up at the Beach Club, and spoke with them and got some questions. And they have very big concerns with the rising water, the flooding, and asked me, what are we doing about it? And I said, we're going to figure it out. We are one of many people. They also, we talked about when somebody comes into the city, if there's a lot of codes that govern our own home ownership, and there's some that are fairly obscure that you might not think about. If your house is empty for a while, you've got to register it. Who would know that? So they talked about having like a welcome magazine. You just bought a house. Here's some things you should know. Don't cut your tree. And I said, well, that's very interesting, but we're kind of busy. So I suggested to them, and they were receptive to the idea of having that be an NAPC project to put that together. And I thought that would be a great thing, because it's really, I think it would be an important, and if they're going to do it, free thing. I sat in on the CRA meeting last week, and I've met with Joan Oliva and some of the members of the CRA a few times, getting to understand that process a little bit and talking about the vision of the city that I've suggested to them that we really want to have at some fairly, soon as we can breathe again, get together and talk about the vision for the city. And they are receptive to that idea. We have flagpoles around the city, and I've been told, and I noticed after I was told, that if they're out at night, they don't have lights on them. So, Mr. Manager, I would ask you to either have them taken down or have a light put on them. Thank you. It's just what we have to do. The George Floyd verdict, a friend of mine, my best friend from law school, I went to law school in Minnesota, and she's a county commissioner in Ramsey County. And we were texting madly just before the verdicts. And so they're holding their breath that things are going to, not flare up. And my heart goes out to all those people on every piece of that. One last thing. We learned a lot at the last meeting about the sustainability bonus. And we learned, and I think we've all been educated through this process, what that actually means. And I think there was a very good time in our city to have that kind of sustainability vote, you know, to encourage people to come to the city. But people are coming to the city. And I'm wondering if it isn't time for us to look at this, what that means. What does a sustainability bonus mean? Nothing that anybody's got in the pipe would be affected by this, but if, you know, going forward, if it's, you know, to me, sustainability means you do something for the city rather than just for your own development. So I don't know if we can do this tonight in terms of procedure, but I would ask also that maybe we have to come back with it, to have a moratorium, that if you're in a development situation and you're not hooked into that sustainability bonus already, that we just hold it until we figure it out and make that a priority to get that figured out.
Yep.
Mr. Manager?
Madam Mayor, that would be a question for the attorney if you're going to consider about doing a moratorium. We can get you all that
I
information.
did actually speak with our city attorney about that.
She said you could.
He did. It was the he.
And Christie's with us tonight.
I know.
Okay.
Somewhere up there.
Good evening, I'm here.
Hi there.
She's in the ether.
She's in the ether. You know, if as long as we didn't affect anybody that had a vested interest in a sustainability, that would be fine, that's something that we could do. And I would like to work, you know, with us and with the building department, the sustainability department. And it's a little bit extra work, but I think we need to do it. I think it's time. We need to with all due respect, we need to up the level of what we're getting from the developers as they come in.
Just a point of clarification, Madam Mayor, you want us to bring an item back to make that?
If we had, Madam Attorney, could we vote tonight on a moratorium? Or should that come back?
It needs to come back primarily for comment and to formalize it into a formal, it can be done by ordinance ideally. So I would add that you got by consensus, give direction to staff. We can start working on something to bring back as an agenda item.
Do I have consensus?
Yep.
Okay, I think we have consensus.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much. I think that'll help everything. And are we aware of I've been hearing about the federal highway project and the mini roundabouts and you know, do we know of an actual project in the works on federal highway from the DOT?
Madam Mayor, it's actually several different projects, if I understood it correctly. And I'm not sure the exact timeline, but it's something that's been sort of coming down the road, so to speak. We'll get you all the data on that. And then Jamie has already indicated that he would be bringing and working with Commissioner McVoy the appropriate presentations to you on the various sections.
Okay, great. Thank you. I think that's.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you very much. That's all I have. So, back to my screen. Okay. Now, public participation of non-agenda items. Madam Clerk, are there any public comments?
There are. The first comment is from Ian Palmer, 23 South L Street. I've lived in the city for 6 years now. One of the major factors when I decided to make this place my home was how dog-friendly the entire city was. Unfortunately, this is being ruined by a small number of irresponsible dog owners. My dog used to be very good with other dogs, but on 4 separate occasions, she has been bitten by unleashed dogs, twice on Lake Avenue and twice in Bryant Park. There's a group of people who run their dogs off leash in Bryant Park nearly every day, and even some at night, making it impossible for me to use the park at any time, day or night, because I don't know who will be out there. As a result, my dog is now very skittish around other dogs. It's a shame to see her formerly playful disposition turn to fear. There's been a leash law in Lake Worth parks for a long time. Lake Worth Code of Ordinances, Chapter 6, Animals and Fowl, 6.4, domesticated animals prohibited on public property. Exceptions states as follows: domesticated dogs shall be allowed in public parks and the downtown cultural plaza with the following restrictions. The dog should be kept at all times on a leash and under control of the owner or custodian of the dog. The dog has current vaccinations and is wearing a current dog license tag, and the owner or custodian of the dog shall clean and pick up, properly dispose of any defecation. Palm Beach County also has a leash law that's supposed to be applied to all public property. I've been told by other concerned local dog owners that they have reported these issues to the police on multiple occasions to no effect. My request is that the city government instruct the local police to enforce both the city and county leash laws within our city. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
This next item is from Mike Hill, 310 South J Street. What does the assistant city manager do to make over $143,000 a year? Nobody can tell me what he does except he works under the discretion of Michael Bornstein. He has no calendar that nobody can find. He's not meeting with anybody that nobody can find. So what does this guy do? Does he come and go as he pleases? Who is he meeting with? And what does he do to justify that kind of money?
I see a
Next
light,
one.
Madam Clerk, I see a light, and I think Ms. Commissioner Malega wants to say something.
I just want to let you know that I spoke with Mr. Hill today. I actually tried to call him 3 times last week and he did not have a voicemail that was set up. So I have had a lengthy conversation with him right in front of Selvina. I explained to him what Leisure Services does because he wanted to know what they do and what their budget included. So I gave him full detail and also answered the question. He actually called my place of business 5 times last week. So I made sure that I addressed it, answered his questions, and he is good to go.
Great, thank you. Thank you very much. An active commission. Next.
Good. Then I won't read the other comment that he's put in because it all has to do with the same thing.
Okay.
This one is from Diane Lombardo, Mayor Resch and Commissioners. As a Downtown Jewel Neighborhood Association resident of the past 17 years, I urge you to pass a resolution calling for a moratorium on any new development or construction projects, excluding the Gulfstream Hotel. This is a critically needed resolution now, as the latest CRA development plans threaten preservation of our neighborhood's unique historic character and charm. City government must uphold the interest of the tax-paying residents over the aggressive CRA's promotion of outside developers who care only for their own profit. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next one is from Wes Blackman. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and Commissioners. I live and operate a home occupation in the College Park Historic District. Out of 6 historic districts within the city of Lake Worth Beach containing 2,600 structures, that is one of 3 districts on the National Register of Historic Places. In September of 2019, I took advantage of the PACE program and replaced all of my windows and doors with impact units. Staff was very helpful with the process and I did not have to appear before the HRPB. I also had a choice of new windows with clear glass or ones with low E coating. I happened to choose the units with clear glass, but many people opt for low E glass of varying degrees to lower heat gain and reduce energy consumption during the warmer months. Low E glass looks slightly different from clear. You should know that HRPB changed its standards for acceptable low E glass in October of 2020, so that the lowest acceptable visual transmission center of glass rating is 0.7. The same measurement for clear glass is 0.8. Most low E glass on the marketplace is around 0.6 or lower. Property owners in historic districts now have to ask for approval for low E glass with a lower than 0.7 rating. There is no guarantee it will be granted, and staff will recommend against it since the certificate of appropriateness approval matrix has been changed. The 0.7 low E alternative is more expensive and less readily available. The result of this change will be that more people will opt for clear glass, making their electric meters spin faster, have higher electric bills, and ultimately be less sustainable in the city that prides itself on sustainability. I hope that you can act to change this action by the board so that people can again improve their homes in a more sustainable and affordable way. Thank you for your time. The next one is from Pam Triolo. When I called to congratulate the mayor on election night, I mentioned a few projects that needed her immediate and direct attention, one being the Gulfstream Hotel. The impact it will have on our city is paramount, from creating hundreds of jobs for our residents to increasing our tax base, to bringing in a constant flow of tourism to our area that will eat at our restaurants, shop at our stores, utilize area services and amenities. The list is endless, and the economic driver we have sorely needed. I was able to work tirelessly with both companies over the last year to help them commit to partnering and breaking ground in 6 months. CDS and Restoration St. Louis are stellar companies that have made a difference in the communities they invested in. Now that you're in your 2nd month of office, what have you done to nurture this relationship and keep this project on track? Have you spoken with both parties and discussed the immediate steps needed to move the process ahead now? Where exactly is the project at? Please do not let the city and its residents and businesses owners down. We're counting on you to take immediate action and the time needed to secure the Gulfstream Hotel and our city's future. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item is, I'm going to read the last item and then Mary Ellen Healy wants to speak herself. She'll be on next. This one is from Sam Goodstein. The CRA has not done an adequate job finding the highest and best use for the L Street projects. That is not even their vision. What that is hard to tell. Our city elected new commissioners to provide guidance where it was inadequate before. So please do it now. Our city is changing, and before we commit to what we do for this group of properties, we should have another process on reflecting on what kind of downtown we'd like to see for the next 20 years. What parking, walking, and biking plans do we have? What is affordable and what is not? Let's not be in a hurry to build now, but get it right because we'll be living with it for the rest of our lives. While we're at it, the commission should address process problems like the unavailability of CRA meetings online. I had other obligations and was foolish enough to assume that the meeting would be posted for later viewing. Is the CRA incapable of doing this in the age of Zoom? That isn't acceptable. If their director cannot fix this, they can ask any 13-year-old. Now, Keith, if you could let Mary Ellen Healy in.
Yes, Madam City Clerk, just one moment. Don't.
Mel Healy at Yahoo.
Oh, got her. 1 second.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Mary Ellen Healy. I live at 323 South Federal Highway. Some of you know me as Mel from Mel and Vinny. We wrote the Lake Worth anthem, Feels Like Home to Me. My concern tonight is water and air quality in and around the Lake Worth Lagoon. When there are planned discharges from Lake Okeechobee, the toxic-laced blue-green algae come with the discharged water. And the cyanobacteria are harmful to our organs and are linked to neurodegenerative illness. Equally alarming is that this bacteria travels in the air for up to 3 miles. First, I would like to see signage along the lagoon alerting the public. And it's my understanding that the Palm Beach County Health Department is responsible to post a green sign anywhere that algae has been noted and then flip it to red when there is algae present. Next, I want to encourage our commission to reach out and work with the other municipalities along the lagoon to influence the LOSM process. If we divert the discharges from Lake Okeechobee going into the lagoon, we can ensure that the discharges south to the Everglades is done with ecology in mind, because we need to remember that the lagoon is connected to the ocean, it's connected to Lake Okeechobee, and connected to the Everglades. So if you need or want someone to work with you on this, I would make time. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, anyone else?
No, Madam Mayor, not here, unless somebody's turned something in upstairs.
Someone has. Mr. Cliff Kohlmeyer, 503 First Avenue South, would like to address the commission.
Good evening, Commission, Mayor, and City Manager. It's good cause, and with good reason. It's been suggested from the dais that it may take up to 6 months for the commission to really assimilate the budgets and other materials that you need to effectively take control of the levers of local government. And so meanwhile, we have a transition pending in the city manager position, which will kind of throw things into a transitionary period, I was wondering whether under these circumstances, the commission would consider putting a temporary pause or moratorium or ordinance, if you like, on any new construction or demolition projects within the downtown where the city or CRA owns property, and specifically CRA owned or city owned property other than the Gulf Stream, including any negotiations that are associated with those projects, for a 6-month pause in which the city could have time to implement its revised set of priorities. And I thought that might be a good suggestion that you could take up in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes,
I'd like to comment on a 6-month period for a pause is not acceptable in my estimation. And I think we're all capable of getting up to speed, making decisions, and recognizing that we have department heads that are going to be completely in charge of their departments, and a professional staff behind them. And in no way do we expect a pause to advance the future of Lake Worth Beach.
thank you. Mr. Mavoy?
Yeah, I'll jump to that one first. I had a couple other ones.
Okay, we'll do a lot of comments.
For the CRA and the concept of perhaps a pause, I think a number of things are coming together there. We just had a discussion of the sustainability bonuses and how those, we may probably want to revisit those from a number of angles. I think we do have a transitionary period with changing city manager, and particularly there's been a lot of expression of an interest in some form of community visioning of what do we want our city to look like 10 years from now, 20 years from now. I think a degree of pause, I don't know whether the right number is 2 months or 1 month or 6 months, that I don't know, but a pause, I think, is something I would ask my fellow colleagues to seriously consider. And I think we've heard it from a number of folks.
Thank you.
Can I respond to that before you move on to other items? Just to keep it all on this. I'm more interested in like the process than the time period. So I think we need to follow a process to get us all on board, and we need the time to but we need to accelerate it, and we need to make it a priority of coming together in agreement of what we want to do with the downtown properties in that downtown area. And then hopefully that happens quickly, so I don't want to put an actual time period on it, but I do think our next workshop, or one coming soon, we should be discussing what that process looks like and making sure that we get the right people involved and that we can all come together with a clear set of criteria for anybody that wants to come work with us, because we don't want to create a lot of weirdness. That's right. We want people to know when they come to our city what we're looking for. We want to be very transparent and very obvious, and we don't want to waste anybody's time or effort. So it's more about the process, I think, than the time. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you. Approval of the minutes. Next is approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion?
Madam Mayor, did you see the minutes that were on everyone's desk?
Where are we?
It's on your very last page and underneath right here, underneath this one.
Oh,
No, keep going you have a whole stack there. Keep going.
okay.
I had pointed out to the city clerk, the highlighted area needed to be changed to the minutes when I brought up the comment about the straw polls that were supposed to be done for the liaison choices. And I just wanted to make sure that was added to the minutes. That's the only change.
Thank you.
I make a motion to approve minutes with said changes that are before you.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay?
Nay.
All right, thank you. Consent agenda.
I'm sorry, who seconded that motion? I apologize, I didn't get it.
Herman?
Oh, I got it, Robinson, thank you.
Okay, consent agenda. Do I have a motion? Oh, Commissioner Milligan.
Oh, no, that was me.
Oh,
I keep
I'm
forgetting.
trying to watch out for those lights now, being very careful. Do I have a motion for consent agenda?
Motion to approve.
Any second? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. I think she's having trouble hearing us with our masks as well. I think we need.
I took mine out.
It is clearly. If you could just even raise your hand, I'd appreciate it. Thanks.
Okay, now, public hearings. This is the second reading of ordinance 2021-1. Consideration of an ordinance to chapter 23 land development regulations regarding changes to allow for takeout establishments by zoning district and to clarify that only one continuance is permitted for all affected parties to ensure the city does not run afoul of development review time limitations for local governments as set forth in Florida law, and several minor amendments related to definitions and use review processes. This is the second reading. Does the staff want to show if any changes have been made?
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Aaron Sita for the record. So the changes that we made are in your ordinance. They're in Exhibit B, and we highlighted the areas that were changed. I also have a PowerPoint, which I will pull up for you right now.
Right here, guys.
Oh,
And just
And
moving through the
Madam
power.
Mayor, Madam Mayor, if I may, real quick, can I just read the title to get that little
thank
technicality
you.
out of the way?
thank you.
Thank you. This is ordinance 2021-01, an ordinance of the city of Lake Worth Beach, Florida, amending chapter 23 land development regulations, article 1, general provisions, division 2, definitions, section 23.1.12, to add and clarify use definitions, article 2, administration, division 2, procedures, section 23.2, quasi-judicial procedures, to update and clarify provisions related to affected parties, and amending division 1 generally, section 23.3-6, use tables, to allow for takeout establishments by zoning district, and to modify the zoning district and review process for several uses. In a new section 23.4-23, takeout establishments, to create development review standards for takeout establishment uses and providing for severability, the repeal of laws in conflict, codification, and an effective date. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Easy for you. Thank you very much. Do I have have there been any changes?
Yes, Madam Mayor. As I stated before, the changes, the areas that were changed were highlighted in Exhibit B of your ordinance. That was the area that you wish to see changes. Specifically, the changes were that we went through and clarified the language to make it clear that the affected parties have the right to the continuance. And so we just made some minor changes to make sure that that was absolutely clear.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
Does a change constitute a first reading or a second reading?
Madam City Attorney, do you think this is enough to change it?
No, Madam Mayor, the changes are just clarification and really just administrative in nature. So I think we're fine with moving on with this second reading.
Thank you.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Commissioner Robinson, Commissioner Malega, seconded it. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes unanimously. Okay. Now, we are getting on to the unfinished business, the quasi judicial hearing. This is a quasi judicial hearing to hear the continuation of the first reading of ordinance number 2021-02. City Attorney, please read ordinance number 2021-02 by title.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. Ordinance number 2021-02, an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Lake Worth Beach, Florida, amending the official zoning map by approving the creation of a residential plan development district located at the northwest corner of 10th Avenue North and Boutwell Road, consisting of approximately 6.39 acres, as more particularly described in Exhibit A, that is located within the mixed-use West zoning district, the designation of mixed-use West. That includes the specific development standards described in Exhibit B, approving a development of significant impact, approving additional use permit, approving density and height bonus incentives through the city's Sustainable Bonus Incentive Program, approving a major site plan for the construction of a 230-unit residential plan development, providing for severability conflicts and an effective date.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Okay, since this is a quasi judicial hearing, all commissioners must disclose any ex parte communications regarding this matter, including but not limited to a site visit or any communications with parties to this proceeding since the first hearing on this on April 6, 2021. And the known parties include WGI, Prospect Real Estate Group LLC, Lake Worth Investment Group LLC, Rodney Romano as an affected party, and the City of Lake Worth Beach. As there's anything to disclose, Mr. Roy?
I can't tell you the exact name of which part, but I spoke with Lindsay, I believe, and with the engineers, the drainage engineers.
Thank you. Commissioner.
As previously stated, prior to being elected, I did meet with WGI in regards to how they facilitate things in the city and the sustainability plans and their charter reviews and all that, but not pertaining to this project.
Okay, anybody else?
I spoke to WGI team since our first hearing.
Okay, thank you. I have not spoken with anyone since that time. Under the quasi judicial rules of procedure, we'll hear from city staff first, then the applicant, and then the affected party. When called, please state your name and the name and the address of the property and property owner you are speaking on behalf of. All testimony in this hearing must be under oath. If you are providing testimony in this hearing, please stand, raise your right hand, and face the city attorney to be sworn in.
All right, we'll raise our right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide at this hearing now in session is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Staff, is there an updated presentation from staff reflecting the changes we requested at the last meeting?
Mayor and Commissioners, William Waters, Community Sustainability Director. We're going to turn it over to Lindsay Liebus and her team from WGI. They have a presentation and they will enumerate and go through each of the changes that were done over the course of the last couple of weeks to address not only your concerns that were raised, but also those of the affected party. Staff is available here to answer any questions and provide clarification if necessary. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, then the applicant, please make your presentation.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm not Lindsay Liebus.
You look just like her, though.
She's far smarter and better looking, but I'll hopefully talk a little bit less tonight, which is scary given that I'm the lawyer. For the record, Brian Seymour Gunster on behalf of the applicant. Aaron, can you pull up the PowerPoint?
Just give me 2 seconds.
No problem. I'll do quick introductions. Lindsay, as you know, is here with us. Rich Zahn, the owner, is on the Zoom along with the rest of our team. And truthfully, given how much time we spent together last time, I did bring a protein bar this time, but I really don't like them. So I'm hopeful that I don't need it.
Well, let's see how you did.
When we left you 2 weeks ago, there was a long list of items. I think the last thing I said to you was we're going to look at every single thing. We're going to prioritize, and then we're not going to be able to do everything, but we're going to do as much as we possibly could. And that's where we've gone. And in the order of importance, we looked at a number of things based on what we heard from you and obviously our neighbor. And although the plan met code when we saw it last time, we understood that we needed to go above and beyond a little bit more, and we've done that. So can we have the first click? The first thing we looked at was, there we go, click through. There you go. One. The first thing we did is we considered our neighbor. That was our first thing we did, and we did have a meeting with the Romanos, and I'm going to get a little bit into that in a second, to get that 3 stories to 2 stories and a couple of other things. Next, we looked at security, both relative to the neighbors and hearing your concerns about security. That was our second focal point. We had a gate on the project, but we've got more that we're offering that we worked on and worked with the Romanos on as well. Sustainability, we talked about a lot, and you all obviously have read back through the Sustainable Bonus Program.
Thank you.
And we've focused on the general concept of sustainability and trees and green and trying to find ways to make that work. And of course, the whole time we were considering the fact that we want to remain affordable to the community. We don't want to do so much that all of a sudden the rents have to jump $500 to $1,000 a unit, which doesn't really get everybody where they need to be. And there were other issues that we discussed. I know that the affordability does put some strictures on what we can do. There's legal liability issues that we looked at, some other things. But again, we try to focus in these areas and tier them to where we could get as much as possible based on everything we heard at the last meeting. So the next slide. Eric, can you go to the next slide, please? So this is an updated site plan. And as you can see, we've been able to figure out how to get that down to 2 stories on the north end adjacent to our neighbors. So we have a 2-story building. That wall remains. We have increased setbacks. So your setback requirement on the north and the east side of that building, what is now D, is 15 feet. It's 20 feet on the north, and it's 38 feet on the east side of building D to the property line. And then we've also enhanced the buffers. So there will be slash pine and sable palm as part of that buffer. So we heard you there and added that in. Next, we talked about security. We are committed to some video system. I can't tell you exactly what it is because you've got to price them as you go through your building permit process, but each of the units to have that video system, as well that we will have designed a program with security consultant that will actually make sure there's security camera coverage throughout the site. Something else that's committed to. And on sustainability, we've got a lot of trees. You can see a lot of green on that. You can see that throughout the parking areas, we have trees. Around the buffers, we have trees. We really try to cover large as much as we can and still make it usable with greenery. Electric vehicle charging stations are included, and Florida Green Building standards are going to be met for this project. So all of those are your typical sort of general term sustainability program, in addition to actually what's in your sustainability bonus program. So we focused on the general concept there. We did talk about carports last time. We thought trees were a better choice for a number of reasons. One, if you put in carports, you got to remove a lot of those trees, which means you lose some of the green, you lose some of the ability for some of the birds to get in there, the things that come about with having more green. And so we didn't put those in for those reasons. And shade, of course, really coming from those trees reduces some heat island effect as well. So I've been gun drafting some conditions based on this. I think it was yesterday. We got everything resolved with Mr. Romano. We had a meeting with he and his family by Zoom last Thursday, worked through with him some things, made sure like that extra 2 feet on the north side, figuring out how to redesign some of that. And I'll work with Christy on getting some of those conditions before second reading that confirm everything that we just told you here and tying to this plan that you're seeing as being the approved plan, not the plan that you saw before. So all of these things that we've just identified will either be shown on the plan and or in additional conditions of approval that we're willing to work with. So I know Mr. Romano is here to support us, thankfully, tonight, and hopefully we can move forward to our second reading soon, but our team is available if there's any questions.
Any questions?
I just, one.
You didn't light your light. How do I know if you have questions? Don't light your light. Thank you.
Great. I can't remember the exact name of the trees that was mentioned in the last hearing about trying to save. So I love seeing all the new greenery, but I was wondering if there was any talk about relocating those.
The sand oaks? You got to stand up here. I know you looked at them. I just don't remember the answer.
State your name for the record.
Lindsay Libis with WGI. We will look at that and relocate them to the greatest extent possible. Obviously, you know, there's existing landscape. We did also, when we met with Mr. Romano, talk about the staggering of landscape to add additional screening. So taking all that into consideration, we will do our best.
I make a motion to approve the first reading.
Well, we need to hear from the affected party first. Oh, we could do that, I guess, sure.
I want to hear them. I'd love to hear from Brian.
Sorry, Sarah.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. First of all, thank you very much for
kind of being the mediators here and giving us a seat at the table. By doing so, we were able to work out our differences. We were able to adopt Commissioner Maliga's drop from 3 stories to 2 stories. Did we get everything we want? No, but we find this unacceptable. I'm really encouraged by some of the comments that you made about policy changes going forward. But this, for this project, is an acceptable common ground, literally. The only other thing that I think everything that Brian said accurately reflects what we spoke about and what my side agreed to. I'd just like to introduce my wife, Lynette, my boss, my daughter, Alexandria, and my soon-to-be son-in-law, Jeff, who live on the property as well. And the only thing he didn't mention that we would ask to be put into the record is that 0 access to the property during construction and during the operation from Botwell Road or Keys, which hopefully we can go on the record that that is not an issue that could be revisited in 5 years and say, okay, now we want to put 500 or 600 trips onto Keys and Botwell, because although we have been rezoned multi-use west, we're still kind of a rural community. And if they put 500 or 600 trips a day on there, we wouldn't be able to get out of our properties. Other than that, though, I think everything that Brian said is accurate and we're in agreement.
Great, thank you very much.
Yeah, just for the record, for everybody. I actually had that written in the draft condition that I've been working on, and I did forget, so thank you for pointing that out, but it will be in the conditions I send to Christie.
I'm looking at you.
Those will be part of the ordinance.
Yes.
Commissioner Malega?
I just want to say thank you guys for going back and listening to us and being patient. It was a long night 2 weeks ago. And I want you to see that, you know, as I said, we're not anti-development, anti-investors, but it is very important that we're good neighbors above all else. So I just want to thank you for showing what good development is and what good neighbors are and setting the bar where we need it to be set. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Commissioner McVoy?
Yes, I appreciate the conversation that you had with the neighbors, with the Romano family and some of the changes that you did. I have a couple of specific questions. Could staff, and I guess that would be Aaron or William Waters, confirm that, or maybe you folks could confirm that on the trees that the maximum of 25% palms is not exceeded, the rest of them are truly shade trees? That should be 75%. Just eyeballing this, I can't tell, but it, you know, the comment was made that we're not doing carports, trees are going to shade, but I'm seeing a lot of palms and they don't shade.
I can grab the landscape plan. You're doing that. No, we do meet code 100% in terms of the landscape. And so whatever the mix of palms and shade trees are, we are compliant with that. There's no landscape waiver. The exact species, I can grab the landscape plan.
No, the species isn't necessary, just palms versus shade trees is what I was looking for. The other, I think, big concern that a lot of us expressed is traffic. Is how is this going to deal with the fact that we already have serious traffic problems on 10th Avenue? And we have, I don't know that it really got discussed very much, but, somebody else can enlighten me, how kids get into the middle school.
That's not on that's Barnett, that's not Boutwell.
Right, okay, so that's before, so that's not, well, I forget which way Boutwell and Barnett go.
Barnett is east, Boutwell is farther west.
Okay, so we're okay on that, but the concern, I don't know how we resolve that at all.
Yeah.
Ouch.
So I think the answer was just given. We can't. We do what we can. We work within the county structure and strictures. Juan Ortega's on the phone if you want to get into the way the traffic all works, but a lot of that traffic analysis that he did shows that a lot of the traffic backups center around the interchange. And so I don't understand the full diamond interchange. I'm not going to try. But that is part of the ultimate design to try to help alleviate some of that 10th Avenue traffic. There's really nothing else. There is a Palm Tran route. There are stops that are right on the on 10th Avenue, right near the site, that's usable, but ultimately it's a state road and a county road, and we can't really tell them what to do. But trust me, I would love to tell the county what to do. But we're sort of limited in that. So we'll do what we can, to make sure that the traffic stays off of some of your city roads, but we can't do anything as to the county road.
Thank you. Commissioner Robinson?
I'm glad that this is moving forward with consideration for all people involved. Didn't let perfect get in the way of good, and but we cannot become willing to accept the first thing that is offered to us. We are raising our standards, and that's it. I appreciate your efforts. I also am concerned about traffic and parking, and William, Mr. Waters mentioned Uber considerations or some minimization of your people, all those young people coming downtown. I'm interested in inviting them somehow, making it easier to get here to, and I haven't heard anything about consideration for connection between this project and downtown. And if you have a comment on connecting, 230 units to our commercial downtown, I'd appreciate it.
So there is, I don't know, was that a question for me or William?
Both.
So as I said, we did look at connectivity. There is a Palm Tran route that runs right through that goes down 10th that exists, that is there. We did provide for future connectivity with the walkway out in front and the dedication of some right of way as best we could. We can't create something by ourselves. So, we've tried to put as much together as we could with that, but we couldn't create a direct line other than making sure we did look to make sure those Palm Tran routes were available so that someone who wanted to get downtown on a bus route could very easily do so.
You're saying that they're going to cross 10th to get on a bus headed east?
They could cross 10th to get on a bus headed east.
There's a light. Right at that corner,
Correct.
There's a light.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor.
Thank you.
William, do you have anything to say about?
Yes, Mayor and Commissioners, there is a intersection improvement program for Boutwell and 10th that will make that much more pedestrian friendly and safe, that would facilitate people getting across the street both north and south. And is in reference to Mr. McVoy's comments about the transportation planning organization, it is imperative that Lake Worth Beach push as hard as it politically can with whomever it can get support from, even if it includes Congressman Frankel, to ensure that the federal improvement of the intersection and overpass includes improvements to Barnett and A. There are National Environmental Protection Act requirements and Section 106 requirements that have to look at the impact of any federal money expended on a project. And I brought this up maybe a year and a half ago. Jamie's been pushing it. I do not believe, and I believe this steadfastly, that they have not considered the full environmental impact of that overpass improvement on those two interchanges. You cannot have a 6-lane major overpass improvement dump out on the existing Barnett or the existing A. And I believe as a city, we have to fight for recognition that that project must include those two interchanges. Improving those two would dramatically make a difference in the positive direction for the overall traffic flow and functionality of 10th Avenue North.
Mr. Waters, thank you very much. And please somehow update us through an email or something to remind us about that. My question though is, it's still, even if they do improve those intersections, it's still 6 lanes to 2 lanes. It's just more gracefully done.
Well, if the inner environmental impact is done correctly, they will have to do a transition, probably beginning halfway between, I would say, Detroit and Barnett, and some kind of transition around A Street to facilitate the 2 lanes going to the 6. But the backups really happen on the timing of the stoplights and the signalization at both those interchanges, which could be improved greatly. That project needs to encompass all of that, and it could greatly improve traffic flow on 10th, because the major issue seems to be with people at the times when people are trying to get to the school, and having a school of that size at the end of basically a road through partially a industrial area with no improvements ever being made to accommodate the school is a problem. So this is the one chance I think the city has to, if nothing else, shame the federal government and FDOT into improving those 2 interchanges or intersections so the whole thing works better.
Thank you. If you just follow up with an email so that we remember what you're talking about, if you would do that.
I can do that. I'll do that tomorrow.
Thank you. I see a light on Commissioner
2
Malega.
things now that Mr. Waters brought that up. As the alternate to the TPA, I'm very okay with fighting for money and sitting down with Congressman Lois Frankel and anybody else that I have to bend their ears, be it, Lori Berman or whoever we have to talk to. In addition to, I think that if there are a couple developments in town who have done welcome packets for everybody who's come in and had advertisements or coupons or whatever for local businesses, I would strongly encourage you guys to maybe put something like that together to drive that traffic downtown and to introduce the people to the downtown. Like the NAPC has a booklet that's coming out and things like that.
If y'all can provide that, some idea of where that comes or what was in it.
They made it.
Who to talk to.
They just made a folder and went around to all the businesses and said, we're doing a welcome packet. Would you like to add something to it? So everybody who moved in knew that there was a UPS downtown, knew that there was coffee houses, and
Great idea.
it's just a great way to drive business down and
Remind people that they don't have to go outside of Lakewood Beach where they're.
get everything they need.
Absolutely.
Do we have a motion in a second?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I have another light.
I just, while we're talking money, how much, I wonder how much, I mean, I know this is, I hope nobody laughs at this, but I'm going to say, why don't we move that school from its present location to the Northwest Ball Fields and market the school campus as a economic commercial enterprise? I don't know who's going to do that, but it would solve some traffic problems and some hazardous children traffic. So we'll put that on the list to do.
If I can.
Doesn't affect them.
Real quickly.
It's not that.
Can I just respond to what?
Yes,
Yeah, okay. I agree with you. In the 90s, when they were building that middle school, Roz Eisenberg came to the meeting every week and said that is the wrong place to put a school, and she was dead right on that one. And we do still have the site where the old middle school was, and that still exists, and I think it's blank. So I mean, I agree with you in theory. We're getting way off of our motion and to approve this, but bear that in mind. Yes.
Well, I just suggest that the new development should move the school.
Yeah, okay, thank you,
No,
Mr.
I
McVoy.
do have a serious question.
I just had a heart attack.
I just want to make that protein bar more appealing.
Yes.
You mentioned on your second slide affordability. Can you just remind us again the price points? I think you told us before, but I don't have my notes.
Navish, can you go through the price points that we went through last time? The average prices, I think, well,
ones that you're planning.
The average prices are super high. So Navish, do you have the price points?
Sure, I'm going to tell you what the prices are based on a range, because it's depending on where the unit is located as well as what floor. It ranges as low as $1,275 to $1,350 for a 1-bedroom. 2 bedrooms will be anywhere from $1,450 to $1,600, and then 3 bedrooms will be anywhere from, depending on the size, from $1,750 to $1,850.
It's 2 bedroom, 2 bath.
Everything will be.
No, the second one, 2-bedroom, 2-bath. Yeah, thank you.
And those are the same numbers that they gave us before, just so you know.
Yeah. I have one question and then I think we just, I didn't notice in your, is there guest parking? Do we have guest parking? in
Yes,
there?
there's enough, yeah,
Okay.
there's enough parking for both residents and guests.
Okay, thank you. I also am very concerned about the traffic on 10th Avenue. I really feel it's horrible that the county and the state have said, it's a mess, so what? That's not your problem. That's our problem. But I think looking forward, I'm just getting a little, we have some other things coming up on 10th Avenue North that are making me extremely nervous. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. And thank you for working
Thank
with
you,
me.
everyone.
Maybe we do second reading in 2 weeks?
Yes.
Yeah, May 4th.
May 4th.
Don't
Thank
change
you.
anything.
I'm not talking at second reading. Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for working with the Romanos.
Thank you.
Take care. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you very much. Oh, thank you. Oh, new business.
I'm gonna just do a quick.
Want to take a 5-minute break, little bathroom break?
I'm hoping it's gonna take a long time, but who knows?
I agree with you. Okay, so it's 7:25. We'll be back at
Take a long time. Herman's buying drinks, it's out of here by 9.
35 in 10 minutes.
In the future, the only other thing we need to remind you is, got to get everybody to state their name for the record.
Mics are hot. Still, guys.
Thank you.
Mike is hot.
The mic is still on.
You didn't like me singing?
Keith, if you're ready, it looks like all the commissioners are back at their places. Keith, are you there?
Yep, we're good to go.
Okay. Madam Mayor, it's 7:30. We're ready to go. You're muted.
Next on the agenda is new business. Hooray. Okay. Madam Clerk, are there any public comment cards for item A?
No, Madam Mayor.
And item A is an agreement with Skyline Contractors for the construction of the Howard Park Improvement CDBG project, and I see a light on from Commissioner Maliga.
I have one question in regards to this. And maybe this is just me being a novice. Why are there a copy of checks in the back of this backup for $10,958 from Skyline Contractors to the city of Lake Worth?
Madam Mayor,
Yes?
if I may, I believe as part of their bid security that they submitted, I think the city staff provided the entire bid package.
Okay, I couldn't find clarity. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any public comments?
No, Madam Mayor.
Okay, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Any second? All in favor? Aye. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
It's gonna be an expensive night for Herman. Although I can't even go. Okay, item number B, the budget amendment for the 5-year CIP plan and utility bond reauthorization. Do I have a motion? Oh, are there any public comments?
No, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Any second?
Second.
Thank you. By Commissioner Stokes. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Any opposed? Having none, motion passes unanimously.
Unanimously.
Unanimously. Item number C, this is the recruitment and hiring process for a new city manager. This is gonna take a little bit longer, I think.
I hope so.
Okay, so,
I do have a public comment on this one, Madam Mayor.
well, please, let's hear them.
I just have one.
Okay.
From Sue Welsh at 1331 North Palmway. I encourage the commission to spend time to have a thorough process to recruit and hire our next city manager with public participation in recruitment of applicants and selection. We are in an interesting position with a progressive board whose campaign platforms all included change. My hope is we could recruit someone who is interested in innovative solutions rather than following suit, perhaps an assistant manager from a bigger city looking for the next step in their career, or perhaps someone who's excited about publicly owned utilities, mitigating sea level rise, public safety reform, immigration issues, all of which have people invigorated on a national level, but very few cities are interested in addressing. We have quite a few issues with which you could focus on. Of course, this will require some concrete direction by you to name what the city is ready to develop, what the city is ready to develop policies for, and some general agreement to implement changes, which is why we elected you by a landslide. Additionally, thank you, Mike, for your time with the city. I will always think of you when I pass the Gumbo Limbo in the Cultural Plaza. I wish you the best in your next endeavor. And in the meantime, I hope you will be helpful to our new board and staff during this transition. Sincerely, Sue Welsh.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you. Thank you. We all thank Mr. Bornstein for his time here.
Madam Mayor, do you want me to kind of set the?
Sure. Why don't you?
So what we included was sort of a couple of options that are generally used by cities. Sometimes you have your HR department go through a process, and including your backup was the one that was actually used when I was hired here. More likely, and more often, you'll see cities use a headhunter. And there's advantages to that because they not only carry you through a process they've used repeatedly and it's repeatable. And there was one example we were able to get from Colin Benzinger and his group. There's a couple of other firms that you could do, but they're generally the same. It's very intensive and they carry you through and hit on some of the points that was just made about having a public process. Starting with y'all telling the consultant what it is you're looking for in a city manager. They develop the materials and then they go out and recruit. You'll also find that the professionals already have a network of people who are like a stable of folks they've already either vetted somewhere else or they know are looking that may match up what you're looking for. So it is a process that's very in depth. It's something that you're going to have to really, along with everything else you're doing as you're spinning plates, pay really close attention to this, and they'll walk you through that process if you choose to go with that. The other thing I've heard from several of you talking individually is the concern about the timeframes. It will take at least, through August was the projection from Colin, the 1st of August, which is a pretty good clip if you think about it. And it's very dependent upon what applicants come in and who you may want to interview. But at the end of the day, if you're interested in moving forward with the consulting firm, you can authorize me to go ahead and either bring them back and do presentations at a commission meeting where you interview each one, or you can leave it to me and one of the commissioners or the mayor maybe designate, and we interview them individually and make a choice and move forward. It's more about your time. I don't know how concerned the group is about those weeks that may take in there. So our staff is capable. Their hands are full right now. And I see Lauren is in the back there. She's got her hands full with union negotiations and a lot of things that are coming up. So I would probably want to encourage you, you might want to consider going with a hired gun in this case.
Rather than HR. Right.
It would, yeah, they're pretty full up, and in conversations with her, it's pretty evident she's got her plates full.
The other thing I think we need to consider, and I see all the lights on, I just want to say this, is interim. I know there are retired city managers who do interim work as well, and that might be something else that we want to consider because our staff is very busy. So to put more on Juan, for example, would just be almost unfair. So that's just something also I'd like to talk about. So the first slide on was Commissioner Maliga.
First on the draw. So thank you for that, city manager. Thank you for all your time and your dedication to the city. I know that none of us are looking forward to this process currently. My question to the city manager was, in looking at this contract, most headhunters charge 10 to 20% of the salary that is negotiated. In this example, I see a flat fee of $26,500 that would then go up if we waited till after May to $28,000. I wanted to make sure first that it's a flat fee and not a flat fee plus a percentage of the contract that is negotiated with the city manager, whoever we hire. Second, this company had said that they had previously worked with the Lake Worth Beach, formerly Lake Worth city manager before.
Yeah.
I had questioned who was that manager that they hired, because it doesn't say who it was. Did you get an answer?
Madam Mayor, Commissioner Maliga, I didn't get an answer on that specific question. We haven't had a conversation directly with Colin to ask that history recollection, but I'll get that for you. This is a fixed fee from this particular firm. Some firms do the
Percentage.
right on some of, and that's not uncommon with some of our executive recruiters. But for this particular contract, I don't know. We didn't get other firms' responses. Baker Tilly was the other firm that's used a lot in the state of Florida.
Well, yeah, I'm just letting the other commissioners know and the mayor know that if we have somebody else, it could be that they want 20% of the negotiated salary. So even though we're looking at these numbers, it could change.
Sure.
I would support being an interviewee with the current city manager and bringing people back instead of having presentations done in front of us and kind of streamlining it if everybody else is up for that. I just know that we got to get this ball rolling quickly.
As far as picking which firm to use?
Correct.
Okay, Commissioner McBoy?
I guess having been through one of these processes in the past, I think we should not rush the process particularly. It is a very significant decision for the city. I think we heard a fairly insightful comment from Ms. Welch earlier that a request for change has been made, and staff makes a very big difference in our ability to carry out those things. I think we want to be very clear as a commission in what our goals are for directions and things so that we're being fair to whoever's interviewed. I certainly would be in favor of a national level search. I also, with total respect for our own HR, I don't think it's fair to burden them with that, and I don't see a lot of enthusiasm from their part. So
No?
I have no problem with the thought of bringing in professional help. It could also be helped through the ICMA.
That's another.
Might be another channel.
Thank you. Commissioner Robinson?
I would like to make a motion to hire, to give the city manager the authority to hire Colin Benzinger's team with further discussion on the timeline of their timeline in terms of bringing back people to interview. And I would like an additional conversation about the management after June 6th. So my motion is to at least get the ball rolling. I don't see any need to wait 2 weeks for a decision on hiring a headhunter. So that's my motion.
Thank you. Commissioner Stokes?
I just wanted to mention the proposed project schedule and the plan. I did have some questions about, so it says May 4th, that they would begin meeting with the city commission members and other stakeholders to understand the job and its challenges. And I think we all need to make like very clear what stakeholders means. I think stakeholders means a lot of things, different things to different people. It's not clearly defined. So I think that I don't want to delay getting a contract going, but I do think it's important for us to maybe in the next meeting when we're having our overall bigger session to determine who those stakeholders are going to be and how we're going to be communicating with the public throughout this to make sure that we're getting the input from the citizens that we want. So that was just something I wanted to make clear, that I don't know if every step along the way, if we should be letting the public know where we are in the process, but we need to make sure that there's opportunities for them to comment and to be able to look at what we're doing and what we're putting out there. And again, I don't know, Mike, if you have an answer of what traditionally the other stakeholders are considered.
Yes, Madam Mayor, Commissioner, in some communities, there are very active groups that sort of dovetail with the city commission. It could be the Chamber of Commerce or certain neighborhood groups that the commission wants to include so that their comments can be folded into the work that they're doing on the assessment. So it's up to y'all. I mean, that would be less work if you didn't want that to happen. Otherwise, y'all would spell that out for them and direct them.
Okay, I do think we need to try, starting with this, I think we need to try to do a better job of reaching out to people who don't always come and participate voluntarily, you know, because you end up hearing from the same voices all the time, and that's not necessarily representative of our entire city. So I don't know when we negotiate and determine with whoever we choose this actual process, but I think that we need to be clear with them if everyone else agrees. I just want to make sure that we have a representative group of people and it's not lopsided in these stakeholder conversations.
What about the NAPC?
I don't think the NAPC is representative.
And
I love it. I think it's a great organization. I love the work that they do, but I don't think it's representative. I don't think.
Commissioner McRoy.
I would reiterate some of those comments very strongly that I also do not think that the NAPC is representative of the community. It's an organization, it's here. That does not, just simply its presence does not make it representative. You know, there are big parts of the community that are not at all spoken for by that organization. So I totally agree with the Commissioner Stokes' emphasis that this needs to be a process where there's a wide, that's what a lot of us campaigned on, with strong public participation, and not just from the usual suspects, but much more inclusive.
And how would you suggest we do that?
Madam Mayor, Yeah, well, one of the things that Colin listed here was going into a more non-structured approach by doing an online survey as an example, where you're going directly to the citizens, and the city could really help push out that survey and get data directly from individuals in the community, starting at a base level. That may be what you're asking for in some regards.
Yes, just, and how we notify people of that survey, I think is really important. I think Juan Rose talked at the CDBG thing, and well, we thought about maybe doing some door hangers or door knocking and things like that. We have to understand that Facebook groups don't reach everyone in the community, like, I think a survey was great. I just want to make sure that we're making the effort to notify everybody about that survey.
Commissioner Maliga, what do you think about Commissioner Robinson's suggestion, just going with Colin Bates? I have no opinion about that right now. I do know that when I was in the 90s, Colin Basinger was just getting started. And I do know, so he's been working at it for 30, I mean, again, I don't, however it goes, but I know that he's been at it for 30 years and probably has a fairly substantial stable of applicants. But what are your thoughts about that?
Well, again, only because I don't know the company. This was our first, it was just an example that was in here.
Right.
I have seen that they've hired a lot of local talent. And, the biggest thing for us is having a city manager who wants to move to Lake Worth Beach. And where are they coming from, right? So is their reach far and wide to outside of the state? Or are they more a local concentration of Florida only? That's my only concern. If there's an organization out there that reaches well beyond the state guidelines of Florida to somebody who's got a talent who we could bring in.
Sure.
I just don't want to miss something.
Yep.
But if you guys, I mean, if they have a proven track record, I'm okay with moving forward with it. I think that this is something that needs to be moved forward on quickly to get the ball rolling, but not to make a decision. With all due respect to Commissioner Stokes, yes, it's important that we get we get public input, but we're not going to make everybody happy with whoever we decide.
Right.
So, the main focus is, that we don't overwork Juan, that we don't, make him not show up for the first 2 weeks after takes his vacation conveniently, right? Or cry. We don't want Juan to cry. So, I'm concerned about stretching out, even the HR department. Again, that's my only concern is I don't know this company. I had asked the question on who was their last hire. I mean, was it 25 years ago? How tapped into Lake Worth? What do they know about Lake Worth Beach to represent us, to bring in somebody who's going to fit in our quirky little town? That's all.
Are they both national firms?
Yes, Madam Mayor, to that point, the firms generally use the same job boards that city managers, I can speak from experience, we're tuned into ICMA, and in our case, the states have their own city manager organization, FCCMA, and they post and list most of those jobs through those boards, as well as, getting them out to different regions. The Florida market's very hot right now for people wanting to move into the state of Florida. So I don't believe there'll be a problem of people who are looking to come to Florida and come to a city in Florida. It's just trying to narrow down and match up the types of characteristics and personality traits and experience that you're looking for. And that's where the private firm comes in, but their reach is national.
Okay. That was my only concern, but no, I would amend, any thoughts that I had in a second. Commissioner Robinson's motion to move forward and hire this firm and get the ball rolling.
Commissioner Voy, I see your lights on.
Well, thank you. I guess I hear the wish to move forward quickly, and I understand that. We certainly don't want to make Juan cry. I'm not in that camp. I just really want to reiterate, this decision is extremely important, and we have a very curious city. We have a lot of things that a lot of places don't have, and we need to really be careful about making that decision. It's probably the most important decision that we will make in our 10 years on here. So let's do it. I have a little bit of discomfort with the idea that we've only looked at one firm to do it, but I don't know anything about the other firms. I'm hearing the city manager say that they're probably all going to advertise in sort of the same things. Maybe. I do think we want to be very clear in emphasizing to whoever we go with that some of the peculiarities of our community and some of the real challenges.
Of course, I mean, that's, It's not going to be, it's going to be a gauntlet that they're going to have to walk. Commissioner Robinson.
The people here have been elected to make decisions, and that's part of the job. It is a tremendously important job that I personally wish we didn't have to make, but I think the sooner we get into the process, the better we will have to make a difficult decision. We're not that unique from any other town, really.
Have you been here?
I hate to disappoint anybody, but and I don't want, I want us to recognize that we were elected to make decisions, and this is what has to be done. You certainly want community input as much as possible, but the longer we take for this, the more difficult it's going to appear for a new city manager to make that decision, to want to come here.
Thank you. Yep.
I just want to change the timeline of what they're proposing in terms of going out for this is what they presented to us here is pretty complete. It describes the community very well. I don't think we have to wait for meetings to describe the community. I think they did a good job, and we will do that in the process. But we need to initiate their search as soon as possible.
I second your motion.
Yeah.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
If I may, if the pleasure of the commission is to move forward with this firm, if you would allow me to work with purchasing on an expedited basis to use our standard professional services agreement, which has all of our standard public records, public crimes language in it, we could attach this proposal to it, make sure that the terms and conditions are consistent with what Commissioner Maliga mentioned, forward with getting it executed by the city manager.
I was just going to try and talk until 9 o'clock.
Chit chat away, Rob.
We know what he wrote.
We got it. Thank you. And I'm very happy that, yep, there you go. There you go. I'm happy that Ms. Maliga is in agreement with that. So we have a motion, a second to hire the Basinger firm. We're good to see Colin again after all these years. Do we have a vote? Do we have a vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we're going with Colin.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And you said you wanted to have some further conversations about
the interim.
Do you want to schedule that at another meeting, or do you want to dive into that a little bit? Because in other cities, the practices range from in the absence of a city manager, like in this case, your team moves up or they ratchet up while you go through this process.
Right.
Work with them to give them extra pay and the things that would be associated with the extra responsibilities of taking on the city. There was also some mention about some other opportunities of bringing in FCCMA retired folks. And that again is available to you in some of the cases I've seen in other cities. Generally, somebody who has knowledge on the ground, if they possess skill sets to kind of step in, it's a quicker, more seamless kind of transition. From my professional opinion, for what it's worth at this point, having that flexibility by looking to Juan to fill that interim position is something you may want to consider, because the staff under our offices with the department directors and folks have an experience. There's no ramp up period. He knows the operation. He started out as a department director and working in rec all these years. So he can hit the ground running if you're interested in that kind of a ratchet up. The assistant city manager position would be something that I don't have a sense of just yet in talking to Juan. But that's something we've had conversations about. It is something other cities use if you want to go in that direction.
Okay. Do we want to talk about it tonight, or do we want to send?
No.
Well, I'm sorry, there's a light on. There's two lights on.
I just want staff and the community and the world to know that this transition period is going to be seamless and with confidence in our leaders. Management, we are supposed to set policy only and not manage. I have all the faith in our professional staff to continue that. And the more we establish that going forward, the more comfortable I'll be.
Commissioner Stokes?
I don't want to make a decision tonight, but I think it would be worthwhile to have possibly you and staff come back with some options for us at the next meeting that we can then discuss once we have something more solid in front of us. And I agree with having the people who are here to help carry us through, but we are going to be short a pretty big position.
Right.
So how can we help fill in that gap? Is it hiring an interim city manager? Is it hiring an interim city assistant manager? Like, what are our options here to make sure? Because there is going to be a gap, he's the one man doing, so I think it's worth presenting to us the options and then we can give direction at a later date.
Any other comments? So do we want to bring it back to the next, so if you just bring us back to the next, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Appreciate it. All these changes. All right, now we have item D, resolution 2021, 17/2021, regarding the CDBG block grant application.
CDBG.
Hi.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. Lauren Bennett, Director of Leisure Services, for the record. I'll hold this out so hopefully you can hear me. On Thursday, April 8th, city staff held a in-person and virtual meeting, which I'm sure all of you are aware, to discuss the upcoming CDBG grants. We had 5 people in attendance, and then a 6th came in at the end, and 21 participants on Zoom. During this meeting, we did an overview of what exactly the CDBG grant was, and then staff brought forward 3 potential projects that we could submit for. The first of which is Memorial Park. I have the presentation that we can bring up if you want to see it again. It's also in your backup. The second was 8th Avenue, an infrastructure project, and then the third was redoing the letter streets from Lake to Lucerne. We had a really good session of public comment and questions. We got a lot of really good feedback, and we had people vote both virtually on Zoom, and then I had a bucket here. Each person got a ticket and they could vote in person as well. The outcome, Memorial Park came in at 7 votes, 8th Avenue had 1, and Lake and Lucerne had 2. And then, as discussed in our public input, we put up a banner on the city website that linked back to the meeting, and we set up a specific email for CDBG, so those who couldn't make it could rewatch it and then still submit their public comment further. We didn't receive anything, but it was up and available to those who wanted to submit. All of the proposed projects that were brought forward were not fully funded by the CDBG grant, which I think you guys saw in the presentation. So potential funding sources could be general fund, the capital fund, any sales tax, and even possibly ARPA. Memorial Park specifically is underfunded at $297,665. So if we were not to fully fund the whole project and only go with what the grant would cover, all I would be able to replace is the actual roof itself and not the support beams or anything else in the proposed project. And that concludes.
Commissioner Malega.
I want you to know that I reached out to everybody in regards to people who are affected by CDBG funds, talked about the 3 projects that were available. The overwhelming sense in the communities, we need to have this conversation in January. Of course, we're going to try to move the needle on this conversation. But everybody I talked to is in favor of Memorial Park. I think that we should fully fund it. So I'm going to make a motion to fund the project as the application sits, and know that we will find good partners to come in and we will find the funding for the rest of it.
Is there a second? Okay, by Commissioner McBoy. Do we have to identify the funding? That's my only concern. We don't, we just.
We can have that conversation closer to when we are awarded the grant.
Okay. And we do have that money coming, so that's, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All any opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Look at Lauren.
just want to recognize and thank Lauren and
Yeah.
Jerry.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Making our parks beautiful, making our parks beautiful.
A good improvement.
Thank you.
Good improvement.
You got a nod from the unicorn, I saw.
Yeah.
See,
That's impressive.
that's a yes. This is a no.
I like it. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Lauren.
You're amazing.
City Attorney, do we have a report?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I have a request for an attorney-client session, if I may read my script on the matter.
Please do.
The city attorney desires advice from the city commission concerning pending litigation, specifically regarding settlement negotiations and strategy related to litigation expenditures in the case of the City of Lake Worth Beach versus North H Enterprises, Inc., 15th Judicial Circuit Court case number 50-2020-CA-009354. The city attorney is requesting a closed attorney-client session to be scheduled for May 4th, 2021 at 5 p.m. The estimated length of the attorney-client session will be approximately 1 hour. The session will be attended by the members of the City Commission, Mayor Resch, Vice Mayor Robinson, Vice Mayor Pro Tem Maliga, Commissioner Foy, and Commissioner Stokes, City Manager Michael Bornstein, Assistant City Attorney Christy Gatto, and outside City Attorney Brian Sherman. A court reporter will be present to ensure that the session is fully transcribed, and a transcript will be made public upon conclusion of the above stated ongoing pending litigation in accordance with Florida law.
Thank you.
And also just to update you, the closed session that was planned for April 27th at 5 p.m. has been postponed. That case involving the FEMA litigation, the mediation date has been also pushed back. So we're tentatively perhaps a May 18th rescheduled date, but we will follow up with you and request that session formally in an upcoming meeting.
Thank you.
And then finally, the only other thing I have was requested a sort of a presentation or discussion on the Sunshine Law. I believe in your materials, there's a presentation that Glenn prepared on the Sunshine Law that is quite.
You're muted, Christy.
Christy, you're mute.
Got muted by someone. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So I have a presentation as well, if you want me to run through it, or if there's a specific question that you have to, I'm happy to run through sort of a short overview on the Sunshine Law if you would like.
But what?
Probably not a bad idea. I don't know how it fits with Herman's.
I can't hear you.
I think running through is probably not a bad idea.
Okay.
But I defer to my colleague.
Okay. The attached report's pretty good, and I had a question when I spoke with Christy earlier about, and it's answered in here, about if somebody has an idea, like I've got this great idea, and I'd like to share it with the commission. How do I convey that, or how do you, us, how do we convey that? And the answer was, and Christy, correct me if I'm wrong, but let's say, I'm just using myself, like, hey, commissioners, I think this is a great idea. Do not respond to this email. Do not respond to this memo. This is my thought. I don't want to hear back from you, and don't talk amongst yourselves. And then I guess the next step would be on that is whoever is doing it to ask to bring it up to the city commission. So at least people have a heads up and have some idea about what's coming forth, because we have some pretty big ideas. And I just, to do it ahead of time a little bit, I think might be more effective than just saying on the record, this is what I think. So that was the question that I had, and that was answered. Does any?
Yes.
I'm not sure what the answer. So
Mayor Resch,
okay. Yeah.
Yes, and Mayor Resch, if I can follow up on that. The Sunshine Law requires 2 or more commissioners to talk about an issue that will foreseeably come before you for action. Ideally to prevent outside discussion of agenda items so that you predetermine the decision. Under Florida law, they want that entire decision process transparent and out in a public meeting. So if one commissioner or mayor sends out an email with his or her idea and nobody responds, you don't have a sunshine law violation, because only one put it on an idea, no conversation. But you need to be careful because sometimes there can be a slip up, emails could cross, someone could send an email by accident in response, and then you may potentially have a sunshine law violation. I would also suggest, after talking with the mayor, is under your rules of procedure, a commissioner can put a discussion item on an upcoming agenda. So it might be a way to do this would be if the mayor has a great idea and she wants to tell everybody about it, to copy the clerk and the manager on that email and say, please add this as a discussion item on an upcoming agenda.
So then people would see
Also-
it on the agenda ahead of time, yeah.
So
Right, and also if you use your official city email to do that, we will retain that as a public record, and we could also show that nobody responded to that, so there was no sunshine law violation.
Thank you. Do you have a question?
I just want to make sure I understand. I think I understand. So the mayor has a great idea. She can push it out to the full commission and simultaneously ask the clerk to add it as a item for discussion. So it can go out as an advance notice, and presumably all of us can do this. It gets real murky if the mayor says, I've got this great idea, and I independently say, well, I've got this great idea. If they're on the same topic, yeah, it gets a little.
Well, I think it'd be simple. I mean, the simple answer, I think, would be if somebody comes up with a great idea that's similar to another great idea, you know it's going to come up for discussion. So hold off with the second great idea if they're the same essential.
So we have the arms race of great ideas.
Well,
It sounds like this can work out, that it's a way to let people know this might be coming, plus it lets the public know. Okay, cool.
Yep.
Yes,
Thank you.
and just for the clerk's purposes, for me, you know, if you send it the day before the agenda goes out, that gets a little tough on everybody. So a little bit of a heads up, give her some time to get that on the agenda is always appreciated.
Yep. And we need to know what those agenda item dates are from the clerk.
Sylvina has those.
Yeah, I know.
She has a whole
We should just be aware of them.
calendar.
Yep.
Another thing that I want to mention, which might spur some conversation, is if y'all are using social media.
Mhm.
That's another area that you're seeing more and more issues with the sunshine law arising. Just be very careful in using your social media, that if you're talking about official city business and something that will see before you, that you're not in the chat, you know, trail with someone else that's serving on the commission. Been a couple report cases recently with some advisory boards where they're having a Facebook chat about an upcoming agenda item. So just be very careful. The best policy is to be conservative and not talk on social media about upcoming issues to stay in. But I know that in your position, sometimes you need to reach out to your constituents on these issues and understand what's going on. Just be careful. If you're on the same chat, you could get accused of a sunshine law violation if you're in that same stream.
But just reading somebody else's chat is not a violation.
Right.
Oh, absolutely not. You're absolutely correct. As long as you're reading it and keeping yourself informed, it's fine. It takes two people to violate the sunshine law. So it's two or more to have a violation, but just be careful out there because social media, folks are watching, it's being retained, and that's where we're seeing more issues arise.
Thank you. Commissioner Robinson, do you have a question?
Well, I hope you all know how much I love the sunshine law.
We all love it.
And I'd also love more of the exchange of ideas. So with that said, I know that if two commissioners are in a meeting, and one doesn't speak at all, that's cannot be a violation.
Is that correct?
That's correct. It's got to be a conversation.
It doesn't have to be publicly noticed.
Correct. But you gotta, like I said to the mayor earlier, it's like, your right to remain silent. You have the right, but can you abide by it? So it's difficult sometimes when you're in a public setting or at a League of Cities meeting, if someone on the commission starts talking about an issue that you're currently going through or that will foreseeably come for you, sometimes it's hard not to say something. But you have to, otherwise it creates a sunshine law violation. And if something like that happens, please pick up the phone, call NRI, because there's ways to cure a sunshine law violation, or even if you suspect that there might have been a violation, there's ways to address it quickly, make it sunshine bright is what they call it. Or if you have a concern about going to a meeting, pick up the phone and give us a call. And the reason I emphasize picking up the phone is because you don't want to create a public record about a potential sunshine law violation.
Right.
So please just give us a call, and we'll walk you through it, and we'll figure out, is it a potential sunshine law issue, and go from there.
So at a meeting, let's say we're at a meeting, a Florida League of Cities meeting, and one of us says, I think this about this foreseeable upcoming thing. Does that mean no one else from this group could talk about that? Correct?
Correct. That's the portion, because that way it's clear there hasn't been some kind of conversation going on.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner
Well, just last thing is I just want to understand and have everybody understand, because we are a small community and love to talk. Conduit is a violation as well. And I would not like any citizen to be in violation of the sunshine law.
Well, they can't, it would be us. If somebody comes to me and says, Robinson told me this, what do you think? I would say, I think nothing. Don't talk to me about it.
Okay.
Yep. Mr. McBoy?
I'm still a little bit in confusion on two areas. One is, let's say there's a meeting relating to something in the city, a Zoom meeting. And I think I'm understanding if none of us say anything, we can all be on the meeting and listen. Right. Is that correct? Without it being a notice meeting? The CRA, well, I think yesterday's meeting was noticed, but so listening is okay. Next step, what if one of us at that meeting says, my view on Winky Bonk is I like purple Winky Bonks, and nobody says anything? We're still good. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
What about social media? I really believe we should pave all the roads in gold. Now I'm sharing my opinion on social media. Other people can see it. Is that still okay? As long as nobody says, well, I don't think so. I think silver or white gold's much better.
That's okay. And if it's not an issue that's going to foreseeably come before the commission, someone would comment back, but I would suggest being conservative and not responding to each other's comments on social media unless they're truly non-business related to the city.
And everything is foreseeably going to come before us.
Yeah, I think
exactly.
It's really
Yeah,
broad.
that's
Everything
a problem.
is, that's a good starting point. That's where I'm concerned on clarity of how much can we share our opinions on things without that pushing the edge.
Just don't.
Constituent might want to know on social media, well, what do you think about?
Private message me.
No, but I'm talking about
To the constituent, right?
Yeah, clarify that for the record. She wasn't talking about her
Or
person.
the, right, have the citizens private message you, not you private.
Madam Mayor, it's a lot of sort of common sense. It's very frustrating to Commissioner Robinson's point, sharing and really working together as a policy board. It's very difficult. But if you err on the side of appearance, that's why when we've had commissioners go to meetings, we know they're all going to be there. We generally try to advertise it just to make sure in case somebody slips up. why we encourage y'all to try not to do those things. Or if you come to a meeting, just be very cognizant what you say, how you say it, who's in the audience, and you'll be fine. Don't make it more than it is, but be careful. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Do you have a report?
And if you ever have any questions or concerns, please feel free to reach out and we're happy to walk you through something more formal. And I do this for different organizations, so feel free to reach out.
Thank you. Any other reports, City Attorney?
No, Madam Mayor, thank you.
Thank you. City Manager, do you have a report?
No, Madam Mayor.
No scheduling or workshop?
I'm working with. No, I do not have a report. Madam.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Drinks.
I'm going back to work.
Yes, motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
No, you can't second your own motion.
Well, I don't know whoever.
Oh, okay.
Whoever didn't.
All in favor?
Aye.
Have a good night. Thank you.
Good night.
We're not going over this then.
What,
For next.
That was a workshop conversation. If y'all had time to do that, it's up to y'all. What we have is basically the city's CIP program, Madam Mayor, just really quickly. And I wanted to make sure that was pushed out. There's links that's going to be leading people who want to look at it, but that's what has been adopted in the budget. And it's 5 years, look ahead. It's based on what the staff as well as the previous commission approved in that look ahead for the capital needs of the city. The 1 year is funded in the current budget. And that's important for y'all to see the scope and the number and the types of things that are happening in the city. Things funded either through debt that we've acquired through bonds, some things funded currently in the sales tax pot, and any other pots that we have working across the various departments. The second thing that I wanted to bring to your attention is in the sales tax portion of your revenues, there are already commitments that are made that are reflected in those numbers as of up to the budget being created in September 2020. So the sales tax items are identified in there. They are funded. It's a little over $6 million of projects. We also have potentially projects that and that's going to be our next conversation. We need to have more in depth, is what you want to do in what was generally considered the Triolo Compromise out in the beach and the pool with the $6 million. And that's been hanging out there sort of uncommitted at this point. So I just wanted you to be aware, there are capital needs that we've identified. There is a previous, that's somebody's phone line. That there is more need than there is money. And that imagine that prioritization process is very key, but we're in kind of a holding pattern and have been for a while with this capital improvement program going out years unfunded, as well as the conversation about the remaining 6 million. And I use that as a round figure of sales tax money that hasn't been nailed down. This is where you want to spend it. I think there's going to be some interesting conversations at our workshop on that. It's my intent to have a workshop session after the Tuesday, the 27th, electric utility. And also now that you're not going to the training on the 6th, I've grabbed that meeting as well for very robust, because we also are planning to cover briefly the strategic plan, comp plan, and dive into a little more of the conversation you were just having about what the development process is for community sustainability, the CRA, as well as finishing up with the flourish, the commission rules. And then y'all can direct me from there where you want to dive deeper, and we can fashion some more workshops through May with the intent and goal of having you really up to speed, your mind's wrapped around the budget process June 3rd, when that starts, because that's where you put legs under all those great ideas and projects. And you find out that there might not be the elasticity in the current budget and revenues that you believe, or maybe had thought. Concurrently, we'll have a better understanding what the heck the ARPA money can be specifically spent, and you'll start to match those things up. So you're going to be, as the policy board, very much in the driver's seat of matching money, resources, and phasing over the 5 year of the capital program. my intent is to give you that knowledge, understanding, and in our conversations individually and collectively. So I know you've been stressing, it's now coming to fruition. This is the first sort of volley of information. Thank you very much, Madam Mayor.
Thank you.
So we'll be talking more in depth about this at the
27th.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, right. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Look at that. How many minutes do we have to spare?
Give us suggestions.
I think he said double